Hello, welcome back to Art Club. We are going to be continuing our conversation about values in art. So we're going to be chatting about hues and tints and tones and shades and oh my. So today we're going to be learning about lots of the same information, but this time we are going to be doing it in a way that is reminiscent of one of our favorite dessert type treats, ice cream. Who doesn't love ice cream, whether you're eating a vanilla ice cream, a flavored ice cream, or if you're like me, maybe you like some kind of the dairy-free ones. I love a raspberry lemon Italian ice. So good. I actually just had one a few days ago and it was dreamy. Anyway, ice cream is on our list for today for what we are going to be focusing on and creating different tints and tones and hues. So if you haven't yet, go ahead and get your art space set up. You can see mine sure is, and I've got my sheet out and ready to go. We're gonna make one quick adjustment. I noticed at the bottom of this, it says hue plus more black. We're gonna actually go with gray on that one because we're gonna be making a tone down there. So you don't actually have to write that on there, but just know when we get to that section, that's what we're going to be doing. All right, so our first scoop of ice cream is going to be just the pure hue. As a reminder from last time, a hue is simply another word for color, right? So I'm just going to take my color straight out of the tube. So go ahead and look at your paints and choose whichever color you're going to be using for this project. I am choosing an ultramarine blue for this one. So I guess blueberry ice cream? Why not, right? So here we go. I'm going to take my tube of paint and I'm going to just give a little bit just straight out of the tube right onto my palette. If you don't have a palette, that is totally okay. Normally I don't actually use one. Normally I just use my parchment paper off to the side here, but I want to be able to hold that real nice and close to the camera for you all in this video. So I brought out the palette for today. This one, no mixing required. I'm simply going to paint my hue straight out of the tube onto the ice cream cone. Just like that. I'm going to go kind of quick for our video. You guys go ahead and take your time. Do a beautiful job. And if you need to pause this video at any point or rewind, we have the ability to do that. It is quite a beautiful thing, isn't it? So here we go, painting that hue straight out of the tube, ready to go. And if we get a little outside of the lines, we actually don't need to worry about it because we are going to eventually be cutting these out once the paint dries. So no big deal if we're outside the lines by a bit. There we go. The next one is a hue plus black. Hue plus black. What's that called? Oh yes, that is a shade, right? So once again, you do not need to write those words in there, but just wanting to remind us of what these terms are. So with shade, we're doing our hue plus black. My color once again is this blue, and then of course we've got black. So I need to decide which one of these colors is lighter, therefore going to be the weaker of the two pigments. And well, you guys, when it comes to something going up against black, the color is always going to be the weaker of the two. Black always wins for strength. Since we don't want to waste our paint, we always want to start with the weaker of the two colors first when we're mixing. That way, if I put black down first and then tried adding my blue to it, I am going to need probably this whole tube of blue to even get just a small amount of our black to change. But if we go the other way around, we end up using very little paint and we don't want to waste. So here we go. I've got my hue all ready to go from last time, but now I need to add just a teeny tiny, let's see if this black is still, there we go. Poured it out a little bit ago, so I wasn't sure if it was still activated there, but it is. So notice the size difference, how much black to how much of my color. Your color choice might be different, totally okay. But even that teeny tiny little droplet of black paint has already turned my blue to almost black. I mean, in real life, I can see that it does still have some of that blue to it. Can you guys see on the screen? Maybe once I get a little closer here. You can still see there's a little bit of blue behind there, but it is so dark, even with that tiny, tiny little bit. So keep that in mind as we're doing all of our color mixing. Whenever you're putting the more dominant, stronger color in there, always do a little tiny dab. I think the Flintstones had a song that said, "A dab'll do ya," right? I don't think that's what they were actually referencing, but it works in this case, so we're gonna go with it. A dab'll do ya. Just a tiny little bit. We'll change that lighter color significantly. So there we go. Now I've got my shade done. Next up is our tone, which again means our hue plus gray. Now, of course, we don't have gray, so we're gonna have to mix it ourselves. So between our black and our white, of course, we're using the lightest, weakest color first. So white is the one that goes down first so that we're not wasting. So here we go. There's my white. And we'll go from this tiny little dropper and grab some black. Once again, the ratio. Look at that, the difference between how much black and how much white. Yet how powerful those darker colors are in changing those lighter colors. Do you see how quickly that changes it? As much as I have done this over and over, it still kind of astonishes me every single time. All right, now that I've got my gray mixed up, I'm gonna add in a little bit of my color, whatever color you've chosen for this project. Once again, I have blue, because apparently we're doing blueberry ice cream over at my house today. Oh, now I want blueberry ice cream over at my house today. Uh-oh. Gonna have to see if I can get out the ice cream maker. And we're adding in that blue. Now this is a great example where if you're like, that didn't really change it. It still looks quite gray. It does have a tint of blue to it, but it's not quite as blue as I was thinking. You can always add a little more. Now, if I tried to take any of the blue out, that's not happening, right? But we can always add a little bit more. So don't feel bad if the first try doesn't end up looking quite right. You can always add a little bit more to get it looking more like what you want. Now we've got a nice, beautiful bluish gray. So we've got that tone ready to go for down here on my sheet. I love how creamy and beautiful this color looks. It's so nice. I feel like I could paint a wall in my house this color. It looks so gorgeous. Here we go. Once again, I'm going to kind of cruise through a little faster than I normally would, so the video isn't forever long. But feel free to pause as needed. All right, over here, we're going to do two different tints today. So we're going to have a lighter tint and a darker tint. We're going to start with the lighter one first because once again, it's easier to add more color to it. So we're starting off with our white because between our white and our color, the white is going to be the lighter or weaker of the two. So there we go. And now I'm just going to pull in, let's see, I'm going to put my blue over here to start. We'll mix it a little by little. I just tried putting my cap on the wrong way. Always make sure we get those caps on though. We don't want to get paint all over the place. Then your family might not sign you up for art club again, and that's a sad day for everybody. Okay, grabbing just a teeny tiny amount of my color, adding it to my white. Look at the size difference. Do we see that? And yet, here comes the magic. Wow, powerful, powerful, powerful. Those darker pigments and colors really change the lighter ones quite quickly. All right, so this is going to be ice cream cone number 5. We're painting with the lightest tint. because the next one we're going to add a little bit more of the color to it for the darker of the two tints. So here we go. Excellent. There is my lightest tint. Now, to get the darker of the two tints, I'm going to grab just a little bit more of my paint and add that on in. Look at how it's changing that already to a darker tint. So pretty. Oh my goodness. I love these colors. All right, now that I've got that little bit darker tint, I'm going to turn my paper just so I don't get my sleeve dirty. I'm wearing my cool RVA sweater or sweatshirt. I don't want to get that messy. I love this sweatshirt. It is so cozy. All right, probably should have wore a smock, shouldn't have I? Whoops. Oh well, I'll just have to be extra careful. There we go. All right. So that is what we want to make sure we have completed for today. We want to get all 5 of our ice cream scoops ready to go. We've got our hue, our shade, our tone, our tint, and then our even lighter tint, right? So that's what we've got going on here. Now, if you want to, you could also choose to paint or color in the cherry as well as the cone. Now for the cherry, I did happen to have a crimson red come in the mail, but I didn't have anything that was the color of an ice cream cone. So I just found a color pencil and decided to color it in that way. And same for the cherry. You know, if you don't have a reddish color, you could always use markers, color pencils, crayons. These wouldn't have to necessarily be done with paint. So make sure you've got this sheet filled out. For next club time, we're gonna wanna have scissors and glue and our black paper, because we are going, and yeah, I said scissors, yes, okay. We're gonna be cutting this all out and assembling it. If you even wanna get a head start on the cutting process, you totally could do that too. I'm so excited to see how adorable this is gonna look. So have it ready to go for next time, and next time we will also be starting another project as well. We'll see you then.